Can you guys hear me well? So yeah, I'm gonna start as soon as I have the okay from you guys. So, first things first, how's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a fantastic week and a fantastic day as well. Yeah, is my audio good? Like, can I start? Lucky moment. Okay, audio is good. So yeah, I kind of missed streaming for everyone. It's just real life has been rather busy lately, and so I also haven't been putting up as much content as I usually do because, as I said, like real life getting in the way. But I'm slowly getting back to the game. Okay, audio is very good. So today's stream we won't be playing now, but I did post this thing here, which is I'm gonna explain some combos that you guys asked, and also like feel free to like ask for any combos that I haven't been asked here. So let's start with doppelganger combos hurt my brain. Just start. Okay, the doppelganger combos broke me. The brain part was just the thumbnail. Yeah. Let's reduce the volume and skip the intro. Okay. So first combo. Hey Rono, how's it going? Oh, it's not 5 p.m. GMT. It's 5 p.m. my time. I got confused. It's 8 p.m. Jesus. Done. Yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, let's go to analyzing the combo. Yeah, hi Zaz. And yeah, I'm doing good. We're just gonna run this, wing this stream. It's been a while since I streamed. I am from Brazil, Phobos. Yeah, let's get to the combo. Okay. Alright, so this setup is very interesting. And this is the end of it. So let's set to half speed. Hello Zaki from France. Oh, Bipsy, yeah, Zaz, I might be able to join you guys, I think next week, because I think YouTube is paying me, like, YouTube has already paid me, but it's in the exchange. And then I'm gonna buy my computer once the money hits. So, because like right now I cannot play co-op. It's really miserable. But once I upgrade, it's gonna be good. Okay, so this is very simple. It's just rapid slash followed by trick. It's really good for positioning. And then the forward melee move, falling starfall. No, starfall is the. I forgot the name of the move. I apologize. Yeah. So here I jump cancel into starfall, and fall into million stab. and I cancel the knockback with the sword rain. I am from Brazil. That's okay, Phobos. So after the sword rain, I just left, and I use a doppelganger, and I use the animation to place the summon swords around the enemy, which is like, this is gonna be important for later, but sometimes I like placing it preemptively just because it's easier on the inputs. A lunar phase, thank you, Joe. So here you can see that I do a Starfall, and let's increase quality. I should do full screen, right? Yeah. So I do Starfall, but my doppelganger does the Yamato's Helmbreaker. That's because the input that I made was backhand melee, but because that input does not exist for Beowulf, he just does neutral melee. So like, that's one trick you can use for doppelganger stuff. Also, I have the clone speed set to low. Like, clone speed for combos is more trial and error. I'm not super comfortable with it just yet. And yeah, I am hyped for the Ninja Gaiden. E aí, Mira, tranquilo? So yeah, after I dropped the enemy with the clone and used Starfall just to reposition, I switched to Miracle Edge, and the reason I have the clone set to slow is because I'm gonna do this move first, and then while the clone is in recovery. So this helps you play through the doppelganger's recovery. And the input I did here, I'm just doing a high time, as you can see. But the input that I did was actually forward and back and then melee. And the reason for that is the clone's inputs are relative to himself and not to me. So that to the clone is back and forward, which is a Void Slash. So also, like, forward and back and melee does not exist for Virgil. So he just does a regular high time. And then I dismiss the clone, and while charging the round trip, and after I let go of round trip, I let go of the summon sword so that the enemy gets knocked up into the round trip, and then just charge Judgment Cut. I didn't have to do the summon swords. That's a bit of a blemish in the combo, but it works like for this like ending shot. It looks kind of cool. E sim, Magno, eu sou brasileiro. Pois é, né? Consegui fazendo os clickbait bom. So let's go to the second combo now, back to normal speed. Okay, this combo is simpler, but it has some interesting tricks. So once again, down to half speed. So here just Rising Slash, and during Rising Slash I place the Summon Swords just because, like, convenience. And then I do a Stinger, an Air Stinger, and I cancel the animation, my animation, but not the knockback, with Doppelganger. And I pop up the Summon Swords to activate it once again to knock the enemy upwards so that I don't drop the combo. Then Air Stinger once again, and that's so I get across the enemy. Like you guys can see, the combos that I really like doing are the ones where the doppelganger is on the one side and I am at the other side. And here I'm just holding down melee so I can do a round trip. And the enemy falls neatly into it. I do a rapid slash underneath and then trick up just to reposition so that I am back at the same side as my doppelganger. Then I do some basic attacks. Was more me trying to figure out what to do next. Like it's a bit of a blemish in that combo. But then I switched to Beowulf and start charging Rising Dragon. And since the clone is set to slow, he does a delayed input where it hits right when the enemy is falling from round trip. And then I dismiss the clone, I think. Yeah. And gives me enough time to do the Rising Dragon. And here the ending taunts. It's always fun to bounce the enemy on this. I thought it was decent at this game, then I saw your combo vids, and like it's okay, like everyone plays at their own pace, like don't feel too bad. How many hours have you put in? I have over 1,000 hours in this game. And yeah, Phobos, like, it makes the doppel feel a lot more interesting. Otherwise, it feels like you're just spamming, and it feels very messy. And I like my combos to be neat and tidy. So, last combo. Once again, starting with the same setup, a Rising Slash into the Seven Swords. Okay, so I'm just gonna play the entire combo and then we analyze it. I think that's better. Okay, this is much shorter. I should have done something else. Like this feels way too short. Like watching it now, I don't like it too much. But they have some very interesting stuff. So let's get to watching. Okay, so here Rising Slash, then Doppelganger. And now Doppelganger is set to normal speed. I tried this with fast, I tried this with delayed. It works with fast, I think. Don't quote me on that. So here I do the first 2 hits of Aerial Rave. Then I switch to Miracle Edge and reverse Helmbreaker. And this reverse Helmbreaker allows me, like, since he was so close to me, he got knocked over here. Also, what could have happened, and this depends on execution, is the clone sending the enemy over here with the last hit of Aerial Rave while I Helmbreaker the air. Like, that also happens, either or is fine. And then popping the enemy up so that I have enough time to send the round trip. And here just round trip giving me time to charge the Rising Dragon. As dicas de jogar com Dante. Eu acho que vai ter uns como com Dante, daí eu explico. So yeah, this was the first video that we're gonna be watching. Let's see. This combo almost killed my controller. Okay, so I think this is one of the more popular ones. Should be kind of easy to find. Yeah, this combo almost killed my controller. Oh, this one was difficult. Like it was very awkward. If you ever get to use the half of the combos you pull off in the Void on missions or in Bloody Palace, The thing is, this combo, like combos that I do in the void, like they're more proof of concept, and like they're meant to be kind of like a choreography. So a lot of the stuff that I use is just too impractical, or like doesn't work when there are multiple enemies because you have to let go of lock on. But the thing is, when you explore the game like this deeply, you'll learn a lot of stuff that is useful in freestyle play. So I don't use like these entire combos. I don't memorize these combos. Like if you ask me to repeat these, like I don't have them committed to memory. But I do have some setups that I use, like a string of like 3, 4 attacks, and then I take it from there and use multiple strings together. So like that's kind of how like this kind of play translates to regular gameplay. It's just you take parts of the combo and then start applying it to your freestyle. Oh, that's nice to hear, Jeffrey. Yeah, Black Rose. My freestyle is like not at all at this level. Like it's good, but like it's nowhere near this. It's just like something we have to accept. Any one character is much easier than others. Virgil is the easiest because he's just broken. So as long as you're good with spamming judgment cuts and spamming his nukes, like you should do just fine. Yeah, let's go and get into the combo. Okay, like this is the part that almost broke my controller. So like this combo is not something you can use in freestyle, like not comfortably. Though this last part of the combo is like much easier than it seems. Okay, so here, simple setup, you just do million stab, and then you cancel it with Royal Guard. It's one of the best gap closers for Dante. It's one of the fastest outside of Trick Down. So like, it's really nice. So here, okay, I lift. This as one setup that I had explained beforehand, but it bears repeating because it's like really weird. You basically do trip down, then you let go of lock on and you jump cancel. So that you're at this height that you're almost grounded but not quite. Like it's like the input is very weird. Let's see if we can go slower. Okay. So my style is right bumper and my lock on is right trigger. So if we pay attention to that, here press, then let go of lock on and jump. So it's a very, like, it takes a lot of practice to get comfortable with this. It's not super useful in freestyle play because letting go of lock on and pressing lock on once again can sometimes make you lock onto the wrong enemy. So like that kind of happens sometimes. How do I hit the perfect German cut? You just gotta get used to the timing. Like there's no like real trick to it. Though doing it in the air is easier. Okay, so after the trick down, here I do a sky star to cross under the enemy, and here I do a rave to reorient Dante so that he's facing the enemy once more. And I'm doing an air rave even though I'm really close to the ground. This is what's called zero height. And man, this quality does not look 1080p. But yeah, the zero height is like you're on the ground, but the game thinks you're airborne, and all attacks you do are aerial moves, and Usually it's not super useful, but it has some interesting properties, and one of those properties I'm gonna show here. So after the Arrave, I switch to Cerberus and do a Revolver, but since I'm in 0 height, you only do the last hit of Revolver instead of doing the full rotation. Once again. And I hope this was more clear. E aí, grande Big Door, tranquilo? And there's a knockback effect, but since the enemy was not on the ground when that happened, this places the enemy kind of like at this height where I can do Crystal. And when I'm in DT with Swordmaster, Crystal places the Summon Swords. So before catching with Crystal, I catch with the Summon Swords, which is like, I think it looks really cool. And here I'm charging Electricity, and I let go of Lock-On right after inputting Thunderclap and switch to Gunslinger. And the Gunslinger DT makes your Summon Swords chase enemies away from you. So I'm using that to knock the enemy away from the Thunderclap, otherwise it hits. I think most of you guys here have done like Crystal into Thunderclap and the enemy falls into the Thunderclap. So this is what this is, letting go of Lock-On while in Gunslinger and DT, so that the enemy gets knocked back. Then I use Ebony Ivory, and here I trick down, switch to Balrog and do Flintwheel, and in DT Flintwheel summons the Summon Swords, lift the enemy, and lifting into the Thunderclap that traveled. And while he's hit by the Thunderclap, I trick down, SDT, then jump up and use the Umbra to knock the enemy back into the last Thunderclap orb. I do some shooting because I basically, like, it was reflex. The combo would look better without it. But then I do friction. And here this is back in Swordmaster. I forgot the name of this move with Cavalier. The Summon Swords are really good for catching enemies. And then send the enemy up. Trick down once again. Jump, so that the jump, there's a hitbox to SDT jump. Then Umbra again to knock the enemy back. Ebony and Ivory to cancel that knockback. Into Radline, jump cancel, trick up. And like you guys can see the rapid style switching here. Oops. So yeah. Here, and during the shot I already switched to Swordmaster, then during the animation I switched to Trickster. Like, my style switching is not super fast, but I do it during animations. Like, that's the trick to play with Dante. Then just doing Ecstasy, then toss the enemy for the hat, and then use Stingers with the Summon Sword Stingers. This is an input move, it's for Swordmaster. And then during the animation to call the hat back. And when you call the enemy back, he goes like from forward to you. And I do trick up, not trick up, trick down. And that takes it into account the position the enemy is in, but not his momentum. So I'm gonna go here, and the enemy is gonna go a bit further. As you can see, like, this is right where the enemy was when I inputted. And this placed me in range for the back shot. And like, also like this back shot here, let me, because like a lot of people like ask. Here, my style is on right bumper. The direction is away from the enemy, because this game takes the lock-on, the enemy you're locked onto, instead of Dante as a direction. So back and style is actually away from the enemy and style, so you end up doing Dante's front instead of Dante's back. And this setup is like this last part is actually like pretty easy to pull off in freestyle because like there's no letting go of lock on and you start in the air, so you have a lot of time to think. And I've been using it like more frequently, and it always looks good. Like it's a very good looking setup. Fuck the dog. No, pat the dog. Sabia que tu era BR, bom saber disso, conteúdo muito bom. Continua com a qualidade sempre. Valeu, Okami. Yeah, thanks for those. Yeah, I think my strong suit is not so much my execution. Like a lot of the stuff, like it is hard on the inputs, but it's not like super hard on the inputs. Like it's not world class. Like I'm not elite when it comes to execution. But the setups and the creativity, I think it's my strong suit. Yeah, like a lot of this thing is not super practical. It's more like exploring the combats and seeing what happens. Dante's combos had different. Combos had different. Okay, I think it's this one. I used almost the same title twice, which is like lazy YouTuber, right? So go normal. Okay, this combo is gonna be fun to break down. Also, like some of the stuff, like it happens in the moment and you kind of adapt to it. Okay, like this combo is like really good. Ever tried Steam Rebinds to get rid of style switching? No, I have not. Like I'm comfortable with style switching, and like I think that anything that I would do would like make me like it would do more harm than good. Okay, so this combo there's a lot to unpack, but I think it's a really good combo. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. How do you come up with your combos? Like, I just have some ideas like, oh, I wonder if I can do that, and then I try it, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and then I just, oh, what's an interesting follow-up to that, and what would look good with that? And it's a constant push and pull. It's a very it's a creative process. Like there's no like set formula to it. E aí, Rodrigo, tranquilo? So yeah, let's start breaking this combo down. Okay, just lifting, simple stuff. Okay, so here I do a trick down. That same trick down where you jump cancel it and let go of lock on, so that you're at 0 height. And here I also trickster away, and I switch to Cavalier during that, and like this switch is like very awkward to do. Like this took me quite a few tries, I remember. And the reason I do that is to do the back melee here. And when I'm in DT, like this 7 swords, like sometimes they make your attack whiff. They're not very good, but I use that property, making my attack whiff on purpose to lift the enemy a little bit. But I go higher up, and then I do ecstasy and shotgun. Ecstasy is the rose taunt, the air taunt. So that the shotgun blast knocks the enemy back into the rose, like so. And I think it's a very good looking setup. I'm not super comfortable doing it. I know some players who can do this like consistently in freestyle. It takes me like a lot of trial and error to do the setup with the shotgun into rows. How do you give Dante a sense of movement? I find that I just go up a lot. Yeah, like the challenge is making your movement horizontal, because it's very easy to go up and down, but horizontal is where like the really high level players like they shine in this game. Just a lot of practice and knowing what each move does. I have a bad habit of switching to Royal Guard after every attack. Yeah, like I just switch to Trickster after every attack and then switch accordingly to what I want to do. But yeah, then here just rock back to get under the enemy. And since the enemy was falling, I managed to get a hitbox. And I do backslide here, and since I'm in DT, like DT auto charges all of your shotgun shots. And what this means is it sends the enemy a bit higher instead of going directly on the horizontal plane. And I use that to my advantage, letting go of lock-on and using Gunslinger, the Summoned Swords, during the backslide recovery, so that the enemy is juggled by the Summoned Swords. And I use Ebony and Ivory to stop that knockback. Like, this is a move that I do very often. I think it's kind of my trademark. Using backslide in this manner to continue combos. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it. Like, I came up with this pattern, and I don't think anyone has repeated it. Not because like it's super hard. I think it's just like, I don't know. I really like doing this one. Can I show it again? Sure. Here's the rock back and then the backslide. And here I follow up with the rock back, another rock back. And the Summoned Swords keep the enemy from falling. And the Summoned Swords also keep the enemy from falling. So I'm using DT a lot in this combo. Can you try combos with Nero? I don't have a lot of practice with Nero, to be honest. Like, there are other great Nero players who do like way more than I ever could. Like, some names that come to mind are Art of Explosion and Blossom. Like, they're like two of my favorites. I'm happy with Virgil and Dante. So here, using that same setup with the Thunderclap, and now I trick up instead of trick down. And I do friction, and I don't jump cancel friction just because I want to cross under. I was expecting to go a bit further. I'm too down here. So I was expecting to be facing the other way when I did this combo, so I just had to adapt. So here I catch, and I send the enemy up by switching to the SD and using back and Swordmaster. And this made the angle that the enemy was made him not hit the Thunderclap orbs for some reason. It was very weird. It was because it was at a weird angle, and Thunderclap orbs are very sensitive to orientation. It's very hard to control. So this is just reaction, like me thinking at the moment, because this is not the way I planned. And I let go of lock-on here during this SDT Stinger animation so that I control where it goes. So I can go under the enemy or over the enemy, and that allows me to go across instead of always chasing the enemy. Then I let go of SDT and use the time that the Thunderclap orbs are giving me to throw another Ecstasy so that the enemy goes up. And here I'm using, once again, throw the hat, then do back and Swordmaster. And I'm already switching my weapons. And I use gravity here, like no inputs, just to ground me. And I do the inputs while the enemy is going from one side to the other. So by the time the inputs are registered, he's on the other side. And here I have all the time in the world, and then just finish the combo with a backslide. Do you think Dante will be in Devil May Cry 6? I have no idea. I hope they do a 6th game. So yeah, this was the first combo, and Dante combos hit different. This I think looked really nice. It had some interesting attack. So let's go to the second one. Also, should I mute the music? Like, it gets kind of weird in slow mo. I know. I should revisit some of this stack. Like, some of this stuff looks kind of cool. Okay, I'm using a lot of backslide once again. Okay, so here forward melee with Baroque kick, and during that animation, I should do less aggressive fades. This is an editing blunder. I'm doing like way too much fade here. Yeah, I let go of lock on to trigger the interceptor summon swords. And during the interceptor, I already Skystar into Mustang. Mustang is just holding Trickster, and then during the Mustang animation, I throw the Rose. So if I hadn't used the interceptor, the enemy would be like right next to me, and now he's a bit far away. So like there's an interesting effect to that. Like so. And I use friction to go down while the Rose hits, and as the enemy goes up, gives me enough time to do full throttle. And doing full throttle while the enemy is falling, I switch to the SD and do high times, just so to keep the enemy juggled. And usually full throttle like cannot be cancelled, but SDT is an omni cancel, like it cancels anything. So that I just use full throttle to cross under, and then SDT, Stinger, and here you can see I'm not locked onto the enemy. But I was trying to cross under, but the enemy was like right in front of me. So this was a blunder, but it didn't look too bad, so I kept it. Here, Ecstasy into Skystar, into Ebony and Ivory, trick up Ebony and Ivory again. Like this pattern is so that the enemy doesn't fall. Like Ebony and Ivory is great for juggling. And here I do pole play, I jump cancel it into a swing, and I hold melee to charge. But okay, I hold melee to charge. I'll use a long barrel, and I jump cancel it immediately and follow it up with a Mustang. And then I use Ebony and Ivory to keep the enemy from going too far away, and then use Ecstasy once more. Here the hat. I use that same setup, but here I'm not gonna trick down. Instead I'm gonna do Revolver, and that places me right in place for a backslide. And here you can see like I'm holding SDT, like this is reflex. For this combo to be like pristine, I would not be holding down the SDT input, and then I would let go of DT so that the final taunt was in human form. Like that happens, it's very common. I'm not too much of a stickler for that, but it does look better when you exit DT. What's the hardest boss in the game in your opinion? I think it's Mission 18, Nightmare with Griffin and Shadow. Okay, next combo at 45 seconds. A lot of backslide usage in these videos. Okay, this one is quite a bit simpler. Can you do guns after? Sure thing. Instant dips for GC, shotgun gunslinger. It only works in DT. It does not work only in DT. You just have to be quick with your jump, because like the window is very slim, because like the knockback is so pronounced. I have more chances of finding a girlfriend than building these combos. Don't underestimate. It's either don't underestimate your combo abilities or don't overestimate your girlfriend finding abilities. I don't know which one to say. But yeah, like this combos like are not super impossible. Like once you put into practice. Okay, so let's slow down to half. Once again, the million stab into Royal Guard to cancel. And I use that same thing where I lift the enemy, switch to Gunslinger and let go of Lock-on briefly, and then do Mustang. But then I follow up with a second Skystar and a second Mustang. I suck at this game, so this is helpful. It's okay, Jack. And here I cancel the enemy falling down with SDT, like there's a small shockwave, and follow that up with SDT Stinger. And since I was like in a good position for a hitbox, I also let go of lock-on so that I go over the enemy. My hands must be buff as hell, like not super buff. But yeah. Which follow-up actions do you find easier viable after trick down the lock-on JC? I usually do a Skystar. Though you can do Mad Hatter. Mad Hatter is a good one. But I think Skystar always looks nicest, and then from there, like there's a bunch of different actions you can pull off. So yeah, here is a crossover. And I use Ebony and Ivory just to stabilize the art time. And here just a simple Helmbreaker. And Helmbreaker into high times with the Summon Swords is like a really useful setup. Especially if you follow up with Faust. Like Faust high time and then call back Faust. And then as the enemy goes across, I do Ice Age. And during the recovery, like this is why Dante does not turn towards the enemy, because I do the input during a move's recovery. Once again, doing that setup of backslide into Summon Sword, into Ebony and Ivory, into Rockback. So nothing new here. I use the Summon Swords from regular Gunslinger from Cavalier to keep to hold the enemy in place. Like this pretty much always catches. Now Cross Thunder. That same setup, but this time I charge Cerberus during the animation. So it looks like this, and I let it play because I wasn't on the other side for another backslide finish. So I fall down before the enemy, and then I do an SDT jump. And the combo was getting like too long, so I think a melee string was a good finish. Why was Royal Guard not used immediately to cancel Ice Age and do backslide? Because that would make me face the enemy if I was holding the lock on. Also, sometimes it looks good to let the animation play out. Let's see, I think it's here. Oh no, it's quite a bit before. Like, you don't have to cancel every animation. Sometimes, like, you can just enjoy it. What character do you have the most fun with, Dante or Virgil? Dante. So this was the combo. like quite a bit simpler than the previous ones, but I think it's still nice nonetheless. How do you come up with long combos? Do you write what you do? I find it often can be creative with a specific deck, but rarely put together long combos. I just mix different setups. I mix different deck. It's not too much about like having everything planned out from the start. An absolute unit. Yeah, like my creative process is like kind of wild. It's just like seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and like sometimes there's a lot of trial and error. Sometimes I have an idea in my mind and it works. Like the first draft is what sticks. So it's just a matter of executing it. Like sometimes I go changing during the combo. Are there certain setups that base Dante with DST active wouldn't work without being DT? A lot. Pretty much everything that uses the summon swords to catch, like these require DT. There are a few that have to do with the speed, but I can't remember of them off the top of my head. Virgil is easier to combo with, absolutely. Like just like not even comboing, just playing Dante is harder because he has so much stuff. So especially for beginners, Dante can be very overwhelming. Okay, let's see. Okay, this combo it's one of the few combos that I actually use gravity. I don't usually use gravity in 5 because I find it to be kind of unreliable. But this one is interesting. Here. Here. So here, just a lift into Trick Up, into Ebon and Ivory to stabilize. And I do pole play and immediately jump cancel. Like I thought I would be higher. So this looks faster than I wanted. You can see I do pole play, jump cancel into swing. And during swing, I charge Swordmaster once more. You can see I have the right bumper held down so that I can do the move, which I'm forgetting the name of, but it's the electric move. And I jump cancel immediately, and the move knocks the enemy back before you really see the animation. And then I switch to Trickster and do a Mustang. No, not is that a Mustang? Yeah, I do a Mustang and then I jump cancel backwards so that I'm not at a too awkward height. And then control the height once again with Ebon and Ivory and throw Ecstasy. Here Redline, I'm using the cheat table to do Redline on Cavalier Grey. So this setup is Redline, Jump Cancel, and Skystar. Ebon and Ivory once again to control the height, followed by Ecstasy and Hat. And here I place the enemy to, I send the enemy to the other side of me, and I do a swing. Let me see if I do a Raw Guard, because I've done Raw Guard setups with this. No, okay, so I just do a swing to charge and send the enemy up, and by this point I'm already falling quite a bit, but I recall the enemy once again so that he comes to me, and then now I'm grounded and I can follow up with forward melee, and then just finish up with simple SDT setup. Smoke beans, smoking sexy style smoke. That's a mouthful. Imagine only having 2 arms. This build was made by Nero Game. I can pull off some decent Dante combos. I really struggle with to add Cavalier and Cerberus. Cerberus is really good for like jump canceling Revolver and jump canceling pole play. Like you lift, then you trick up, then you do Ebon and Ivory, then you pole play, and you jump cancel the pole play when you hit, and then you follow up with something else. Like, so yeah, like those are the three most important moves. It's pole play, it's revolver, and crystal. Like crystal is one of the best lefts in the game. It's also for freestyle. It's really good because it lifts the Scuto Angels, the shield dudes, regardless of their position. So like because it hits them from underneath, so it's really good. I need V combos. I have a couple of V videos that like they're about freestyle. I'm not good with V combos. I'm decent with V freestyle though. But yeah, also Cavalier, the moves there are good. Like the Radline is the best move. Jump canceling Radline and or SDT canceling Radline, like it's like the best thing to do with that weapon. But backhand melee in the air is also really good. It's the one that Dante pulls the Cavalier behind him. Like that's a really good move. Also back and Swordmaster on the ground is like the highest lift in the game. And if you're in DT, it's also really good for catching enemies with the summoned swords. So experiment with summoned swords and with Cavalier, like that should help you quite a bit. If I launch an enemy with serves an immediate trick up and one shot, that's enough for JC pole play height, or do we need to one shot before trick up? It's enough, just trick up and then shot and then pole play, but both work, both do different heights, so you can explore with that. E aí, Kyrie, tudo tranquilo? Hoje a live é de analisar combo só. Okay, I think there's one more in this video, so let's get to it. Don't you guys get sick of me using the backslide? Cause like, some people pointed out like that I use backslide a bit too much, but it's just such a cool move. Okay, this combo is like not super difficult to pull off. It's more about the idea of it, like cause like the setups are kind of intricate when it comes to positioning. Reverse long barrel is a bit tough to pull off with my specific layout. Yeah, like I really like reverse long barrel, but like it can be really awkward. Imagine doing anything this was made by Kyria gang. Oh wow. Yeah, Kyria is here in the chat, so be kind to her. Yeah, Interceptor, like, I think my usage of Interceptor, I don't think it's like the best. I think Sakaki and Blank, like, I think they have the best Interceptor combos, but like, mine is decent. Like, I can do some cool stuff with it. Oh, you never found a shotgun rep. Like, the shotgun is like really good in that game. Okay, so let's get to the combo. Okay, so lift, and here is just ecstasy into interceptor, just to displace the enemy. And I do Helmbreaker to ground myself. And this was just barely in range. Like, I was not sure if it was gonna work, but it worked. So I left, then follow up with our classic rock back into backslide into another rock back. Same setup as before. And now I'm at the right side that I wanted. I lift, and then I shoot the enemy back into the orbs. And I'm using Swordmaster, like stingers with Swordmaster while charging Overdrive. And then I don't even let go of style. I It's Stingers and then already charge the round traps. Then here a single hit to charge Electricity. And then I dash backwards because otherwise the Thunderclap hits. So I have to dash backwards. And then Redline. And when I'm just barely in front of the enemy, STT into, I think this is Inferno, to knock the enemy up into the Thunderclap. And here I charge the big laser and use Summon Swords to keep the enemy airborne. Do you suggest practicing with Angelus for the drop height stuff that you have when push? I think the best practice dummy is the Kena. If you want a bigger hitbox, I suggest the Chaos. It's all good, Phobos. It was nice having you here. Hope you enjoyed the stream. One Dante combo in every DMC game. I have to get good at the other DMC games because I only really got good at 5. I'm not even good at 4. Like I can do some stuff in 4. Like nothing impressive. In 3, like I played through 3 on stream here in the channel. It was okay, like I was dying a lot and I was like a bit noobish. I need to spend more time with the other games. But that's a nice idea. You hear big laser is always a cool finish. Rover buddies, that's fine. Don't mention it. I hope you managed to incorporate some of these setups in your game. I know that not all of them are easy, but like some of them are, and I think they all look pretty good. I think I'm better at 3 than others. Like, I was really young when I played 3, and I played it twice, once with Dante, once with Virgil, and then once again now with Dante. And I practice a little bit. Hey Amir, how's it going? I practice a little bit before doing that playthrough, like just to get like JC timing down and get used to the weapons, but like not too much. So, do you guys want to see a specific combo here? Because yeah, Run of Foes, you already like Dante combos are different. This combos made me drop my controller. Okay, let's search for it then. Controller. Yeah, your thumbnail. One of these combos made me drop my controller. Okay, which one? Hurt combo. Okay. Also, I hate when like my Android phone keeps picking up my voice. Like, I don't want to give you a voice command. Okay, hurt combo. Let's do the entire video because like it's more fun that way. Okay. Okay, this is not super complicated once you understand the stuff from previous ones, because it's a very similar setup. So, imagine not throwing hands. This post was made by Devil May Cry 4 Euro game. Shotgun forward slide, follow that up with forearms or high times from DSD and then do stuff. Like, there's not much else you can do. It's very nice when dodging boss attacks. I've been doing that lately a little bit more. Donguri does that a lot, and like it always looks really good. Oh, finally using the environment. Okay, we're gonna go through this combo here, and then we're gonna do the environment. Okay, same setup with blocking. Then again, the Mustang into Interceptor. And here I use the fireworks to kind of keep the enemy in place. So it's fireworks and then forearms to keep the enemy perfectly still. Trick down, and here's the move that I was talking about, the back Swordmaster. I used it just for the summoned swords, and immediately after I cancel with SDT and then do a cross under. Then instead of doing forward Swordmaster to send the enemy away, I use Interceptor. It's a stylistic change, like there's not much difference. And then I trick up, and you can see I'm across, but I'm just close enough to the enemy that the rocket from Gunslinger Kalina hits. And I wanted to do a jump cancel here, but I was way too low. But from that height, I knew from practice that the enemy would fall like above me when I just touched the ground here. So I could just do a neutral jump to cancel the enemy momentum. Then Inferno. And here I think I'm using the Summon Swords, but could be at the edge of Ice Age. Hey Sages, how's it going? I'm glad you managed to catch the stream. I'm explaining some of my combos. I need help. I played so much Virgil, forgot how to play any other character. Like, that happens. I was very rusty with Dante when I stopped playing Virgil a little bit. Imagine killing enemies with a rose. You can kill bosses with the rose because it deals 1 damage. Like, it's a lot of fun. And there are a few moves. Like, the best move for that is to use Danse Macabre, but not do the final hit, because Danse Macabre only kills in the last hit, otherwise it leaves the enemy at 1 HP. So have fun killing bosses with the rose. Okay, so trick down, trick up, SDT Stinger. Okay, this one is not super complicated. It has some interesting things in it. Okay, so slash across, then trick, then lift, and during the animation, I do the down trick, and during the down trick animation, I let go of melee so that I do the sliding Judgment Cut, which I like. I think it looks pretty good. And then I let go of lock on so I can trick up and then Judgment Cut. And you can see I was holding Judgment Cut before I even trick. Then I SDT so that the Air Stinger travels a bit with the enemy. And I do this because it's much easier to jump cancel out of the SDT one than the regular one. And also I want to follow up with Starfall, the health version, which you do the follow-up kick. Just a second, guys. So, okay, so I jump cancel, the enemy keeps going, so Starfall into follow-up. Then I reverse the first hit of Aerial Rave, hold lock on, and then I'm gonna do the trick into Judgment Cut. And when I'm facing away from the enemy, that brings me, instead of going like down and away from the enemy, I go down and across. And then I do a trick up once again. Then Lunar Phase into Jump Cancel into Air Taunt. Then trick up into Helmbreaker. And Helmbreaker I usually follow with Drive. Then Rapid Slash just to keep the enemy up a bit. And then the Summon Swords. The suggestions for Dante's Ignited Balrog Air Punch knockback downfall, which has ground bounce. With the bounce, what I like doing is swapping to Gunslinger to use Interceptor. Then use Ebony and Ivory, and then you can follow up with Neutral Style, or you can follow up with Real Impact, or swap to Kick Mode and do Pyromania. E aí, John, tranquilo? Kind of looks like the combo you were trying to teach me the other day. Yes, I think I made this after. So I used some of it, Sages, but yeah, it's very similar. And the taunts. Also, I recommend everyone who records their combos to always do a taunt right after the combo, because it makes it so much easier for editing when you have to sync up with the music. You can cut the taunts, or you can keep the taunts, or cut midway through the taunts, so that you don't lose any combos or cutscenes when trying to sync up to the music. So, like, it's very useful. Okay, that's set up again with the Thunderclap. Okay, so now I trick up, then Helmbreaker, and I jump across the enemy, and I don't jump too high because like you can go a lot further. And I use Ebony and Ivory to control not only the enemy's height, because like the enemy is controlled by Thunderclap, but my height as well. And use Forearms to do Mustang. And like that Forearms. Let's play the whole combo. I should be playing the whole combo. Yeah, like the most awkward part of this setup is here because I'm falling and I do the Mustang really low and I do a swing and it's just a buffer so that the enemy falls a little bit more, and then friction so that it's very hard to see. Let's go to half speed. So yeah, here I jump, shoot, forearms, Mustang, swing, and by the time I do friction, the enemy is just below me. So I think that looks a lot better. And this combo, like, yes, I don't really like doing combos where I drop the enemy. Like, it's such a brief drop, and you have to drop the enemy in this position. Otherwise, the combo does not work. And I really wanted something to place me in this position so I can backslide the enemy back into the orbs. Because backsliding back into the orbs always looks really good. And then I use the orbs to give me time to charge the judgment. Regarding clone placement in your setups, do you try to make human verge opposite side so that the clone can have opposite? Usually yes. Was that a glitch in Mustang that you floated you away? Not really. Let's see. No, I didn't float away, I just went down. Was regular. If you can add any weapon from the MC4, what would it be? Either Lucifer, if it was a little bit more useful, because like Lucifer is kind of a very awkward weapon to use, but it's like half of the Dante's death in 4 comes from Lucifer. Like, it's insane. Or Pandora, just because like the concept alone allows for so many possibilities that even we can get more moves for Pandora, and like that would be a lot of fun. Hello, person with, I think that's Russian name. I cannot read your name. I apologize. Okay. I think this is Z. Let's go to the environmental combos. It's one of my latest, so should be easy to find. Thumbnail is 10 out of 10. Come on. Okay, so environmental combos are really hard because like the ledges make things really awkward. Sometimes you like fall flat. So yeah, let's see first combo. And like I wanted to do something that takes advantage of the ledge, so that's why I don't just do a regular combo in a reduced space. Like I don't think that would look good. Okay, should play this at full speed. Okay, so let's explain this combo. There's not a lot to unpack here. It's a very simple combo. It's simple, but it's not easy to do. It took me like quite a few tries. So here, Gunstinger into high times, and I wanted to place the enemy away from me, away from the edge of the ledge, just so that the combo looked more interesting. And here do the combo B. Is this combo B or combo C? I can never remember. The Swordmaster combo. So, like to hit the enemy down, and it's one of the few attacks that Dante has that hits the enemy straight down. I think it's the only sequence that does so while on the ground. I know Feather combo does that as well. So this is a very natural setup to try to do. And here, Inferno hits underneath you. But depending on the enemy's position, like sometimes he goes way up, sometimes he goes just at this height. So I just do a poke here, and Flame Wheel with double trigger to lift the enemy with the Summoned Swords. So here just a regular friction into Ecstasy and Trick Down. No, not Trick Down, Sky start to change direction. Then Trick Up, and I try to do just a friction from here, but I wasn't hitting the ledge. I also tried from here and I wasn't hitting the ledge, so I had to do a double jump and using Ebony and Ivory to manipulate the enemy. Then do a triple switch to Coyote. And then backslide, our usual backslide into Interceptor setup. Just to keep the enemy from falling quite so quickly. If I were to repeat that, I would try to do maybe charge round trips. I don't know, because like the enemy ended up dropping anyway. Then the Stinger off the ledge, which does this weird animation into Kalinen's Gunslinger, and then finally the combo ender. Was that an SDT shot to ground bounce the enemy? No, that was Inferno. It's the back melee move, the one with Arrow effect stun. Okay, let's combo 2. Okay, this one's cheeky. It's gonna be fun going through this one. So similar setup this time, but I do a regular Stinger, and I do forearms because for this one I don't want to go too far away from the ledge. And here I do neutral Swordmaster with Balrog, both to keep the enemy in place for a bit longer, also because it looks cool because it takes advantage that the enemy is airborne but you're not. So it takes advantage of the ledge. This is not something you can usually do like super easy. And here I take a couple of steps back because I was falling off the edge when doing the ignition dance. I was falling off the edge, and here I'm using the Swordmaster DT properties of the dance to keep the enemy at my level. Then real impact. And here let go of lock on. So I did Swordmaster without locking on, just so that I'm facing away from the enemy, and during the recovery I can backslide. And backsliding into the wall, like it looks really good. Also takes advantage of the ledge, because like there's no point in doing an environmental combo if you're not taking advantage of the environment, you're just in it. So that's something I wanted to add. This took me like so many tries because I'm not used to doing this kind of stuff. And then just to lift and give me enough time to do the laser. And I wanted the laser to go like hit the enemy straight into the ledge, but this was a cool effect where it knocked the enemy over the ledge, so like that was funny. Also, I'm starting to lose my voice, so like this is gonna be the last video that I do for today. Okay, another combo. I think this one is my favorite. It's also the first one of these that I got. Okay, so slow motion. Story-wise, who do you like the most, Dante? Why exactly V can't repeat Word of V? Because Nightmare can't be controlled? No, it's because like V's motions, like they just don't. You have no comment for that. And yeah, like Nightmare is autonomous. And I think you cannot do Griffin's attacks quite so fast as he does in World of V. Any thoughts of using Sword Stinger air glitch into a hat's forward gun to float? I'm gonna have to look into that, I have not tried. Where was the activate of Inferno to get your normal shot in? I did it in this combo, so I'm gonna go over it. Okay, so here Stinger into high times, pop DT, and I'm using Interceptor to send the enemy away, to catch him back with the hat. The reason I'm using Interceptor and not Stingers is because I was fearing that Stingers would, when the enemy came back, he would bump into the ledge, which is not what I wanted. And here, single hit from Cerberus Fire. And once again, using DT, like DT is so useful for ledge combos, like it's not even funny. So Crystal, switch weapons to, and here I shoot before just because I needed the extra airtime. And I don't jump cancel because I wanted to get back here to do Inferno. And then I cancel out of Inferno right like after the enemy is knocked up. Best way to learn Dante, just play and watch players that are better than yourself and see what they do. V combo mad when? I don't think I can do a combo mad. Like I'm not good with combos with V. I'm not okay with V freestyle. Like, I've done with V what I've wanted to do. Like V doesn't interest me anymore. Also here, I shoot again to keep the enemy height. And I have to be in DT for this. The shot was also to recover, because you can go into DT quite immediately after you get out of SDT, so this was a little buffer. And then I use Ice Age with Swordmaster, so it's not the Ice Age keeping the enemy here, it's is the Swordmaster effect. And then I pop into... Okay, this is interesting because if I just popped into STT for the Stinger, I would be at the same height and just drag the enemy forward. So for a split second here, I switch out of Swordmaster. I go to Trickster because Trickster is kind of like my default, so that the enemy falls just enough that I can go over. So right here, like it's a split second, and you can see the enemy is starting to fall, and then I go over. Then I have an Ivory Shot to keep the enemy back, and here I wanted to do this zigzag pattern of going right, then left, and then right again. So 1, 2, and 3, and he hits the ledge, and that's the combo ender. Unfortunately, the camera got kind of glitchy here because there was another ledge nearby. But yeah, I think this one is my favorite of the 3. Yeah, early deactivate, but it has more to do with distance than it has to do with your timing for deactivation. DMC combo video soon. I only played DMC the reboot at a friend's place, and I did not like the game at all. And I played it twice, once the regular edition and once the definitive edition with the few fixes, but like it didn't fix, like it fixed some of the issues I had with the game, but like not nearly enough. I just don't like the reboot, and it's okay if you do, and the game has a decent combat system. I just don't like the game. So yeah, with that said, it's getting kind of late and I'm gonna grab myself some dinner. I hope everyone has enjoyed the stream. If you're not subscribed to the channel, feel free to do so. I post Devil May Cry content regularly. I might try posting other games. I have to find more games to make videos of, because like just Devil May Cry, like eventually I'm gonna tire of the game. Sometimes I do and then I come back. But I might play Ninja Gaiden, I'm not sure. DMC2 combo, Matt, no, combo video now. But yeah, everyone have a fantastic week. Also, I released a video today, which is this one. Can you make combos with no upgrades in Devil May Cry? So be sure to click on that one or watch it. I disabled every upgrade in the game to do that, so no enemy stab, no stinger. It was quite challenging. I did with Nero, doesn't count, it was garbage combo, but I also did with Dante and Virgin, and those turned out a little bit better. So yeah, have fun trying to incorporate some of the setups in your own play.